That works. Alright. So, I watched this veritasium video, and there's one thing he said that made me go, He said, and I quote,
"People are actually really bad at selecting things randomly."
and that, my friends, did not sit quite right with me. So, I did a thing. Ever since then, I've been digging this weird rabbit hole of trying to prove that humans, in fact, can produce random numbers. Here's what I did. So my grand journey starts as any would, I guess. So I went on Instagram and I asked you guys to give me data, basically. So I got a lot of values. Like, I got a lot of responses. And I had no idea what to do. All of a sudden, I'm just here. This guy who has never done any sort of statistical analysis ever before. I didn't know what to do. Just mapping all of it out, you get this basically. You can see how the trend line is biased towards numbers less than 50. And you can also see that you guys obviously have a bias towards clicking on 69. So me and my project walk over to my professor in university and I asked him for advice, right? And they actually gave me advice. Okay guys, we have a very cool update. Hold on. She gave me academic paper links and all. Like, bro, I'm feeling so researcher right now. So now I have somewhere to start, right? Alright, so here's what I was really trying to prove. I was trying to prove that, sure, veritasium and like a bunch of other researchers are right in saying that if you ask a human being to give you one random number, it will not be random. There will be a bias to it. But here's the thing. My hypothesis was, what if you ask more than one number from the same person? What if you keep asking some numbers? Where is it that that bias goes away? Because I saw this one research paper. Okay, so in summary, what they say here is that, they had like 5 people basically generate random numbers for like an hour or something. So one person kept generating like a bunch of numbers for like a long time. And their test shows, the numbers generated at the end were random. Like, they passed randomness tests or whatever. They didn't really specify what tests though. It doesn't show the trend of losing the biasness. What I want to figure out is, where is it that humans change from biased to random? Or does that even exist at all? Alright, so I made graphs. Just from the first and second attempt, there's insane peaks, right? There's no way that's random. Alright, so as we go down, the trend line seems to settle. So that's some good news. As we hit the 10th attempt, for the most part, this is a much more settled graph. Major problem right now is the sample size is just very small. Like, I just don't have enough data to work with. Clearly, there were problems. My small data set was not helping, as you can see, right? So I thought, what if I try something? And so I did. Okay, so this time, as you can see here, I'm not taking one column now. I'm taking the first and second attempts, like all the numbers of the first and second attempts. Only because I just don't have enough data. Now, trying the batches thing actually really helped, but only in one way, right? So while I lost resolution, I lost all the changes that would happen, for example, in the first and second attempt, the second and third. I lost those changes, those small changes. But what I did capture was the large changes, the overall trend towards which everything was going. We go down, and it does, in my opinion, see, they kind of end up getting closer to the trend line, even though the range from 5 till 15. Yeah, no. You guys probably noticed how the range of values kind of was different before, so I kind of set them all from 0 till 20 this time so that the spread actually means something. You do start to see something. There is a difference, is what I'm saying. Overall, we do tend to pick smaller numbers, but if you zoom in a bit and look at individual batches, you see that most of those smaller numbers are picked in the first batch. I actually managed to capture something, which was so cool to me. Like, but I was still stuck on this question. How do I prove something being roughly around the same frequency? How do I quantify that? And so this happened. Wait, konsa?
G something test that was used to like find
Oh wait, are you talking about chi-square test for frequency of numbers?
Yep. It does like prove randomness. It finds a correlation between random numbers to prove whether they're random or not.
Correlation.
Basically, distribution map out करता है of numbers, and I think एक formula भी था उसका. हाँ, formula है उसका.
Zone se भर गया, nice. And that was everything I needed, almost. Using the chi-square test, I actually got some really nice evidence. If every possible value has the exact same probability of getting selected, then I should be getting 0.1 being 100%. When I look at the attempts page and map these chi-square values, now you see some resolution to the whole thing. Now clearly, you can see there's an increasing trend as you go towards the 10th attempt, and that means something. And I think that comes to prove a little bit of how there is some credibility to the argument that humans can actually produce random numbers, and consciously so. And while none of what I did here is pretending to be conclusive information or anything conclusive at all, what it does show is that I was a little bit right. But honestly, even I'm not exactly satisfied with how it is right now. I want to find out where it is that most people or all people end up losing their connections to numbers and the world. Connections to number of the world being, bias. Just knowing that would be huge almost, because that signifies that despite how much our brains work on, perceived events and memories and past influences and all of that, despite all of that, you can do certain things in order to, quote unquote, trick your brain into doing something more objective, doing something more, almost in a sense, non-human. Because randomness is something I would consider non-human because of how void it is of anything to do with any part of your entire life. And if you think about that, it is quite interesting that my results have some credibility, if not showing a direction towards something that may actually be true. But even if it's not true, I think it's an interesting thought.